Look, this next story, you may have seen the story on the Haskell Library, right? You know, the one that's sort of on the border here between Quebec and Quebec and the United States, Canada and the United States, and all the controversy it's been embroiled in ever since, the U.S., I forgot her name, who visited, was it Kristi Noem? Who visited there and decided that, you know what, this thing that's been around for 100 years where Canadians and Americans just basically go back and forth, that's not good anymore. So we'll talk about that in a second. Louise Penny, who I'm sure you all know, the Quebec author, award-winning author, and of course, I think it's fair to say Quebec's gift to the world of culture, or world of literature, is on the line right now because she's involved in something going on in the Haskell Library, but something even more than that. So let's say good afternoon. Louise, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hi, Aaron.
I'm doing. Oh, I'm good. Hi.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I messed up the introduction. I wanted to get to the Haskell Library last, so I apologize. But let me start by talking. This story, by the way, since I brought it up, is really beyond anything. I think it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the administration there, and it's embarrassing that, we would be considered basically outsiders here for a place that's been around and has been frequented by Canadians and Americans for so many years, and you wanted to get involved.
Yeah, no, it's petty and it's shameful by a petty and shameful administration. And yes, because I wanted to get involved because it's between. Well, I hope I would have gotten involved no matter where it was in Canada, but it's particularly close to me. It's only about an hour away from my home. It's a library and opera house I'm familiar with, and the fact that it's also, as I said, as you've mentioned, it's a library. A library in a village, for God's sake. And they send the head of Homeland Security to the library and then decide to close it to Canadians. It's petty. It's shameful. It's, as you said, it should be embarrassing.
Yeah, made worse by the fact that, Kristi Noem decided it would be really cute to just step over that line several times, just kind of rub it in, which then again, based on the administration we have, maybe that's not even surprising to do that kind of thing.
Well, you see, that's really interesting because I think many of us, when that was first floated back in January, early February, but the 51st state, and then trying to diminish our prime minister by calling him governor, and I think we all just kind of laughed it off. And then as it's gotten more and more serious, we've realized that this is perhaps something that we really do need to pay more attention to and really step up, and not just Canadians, but Americans as well, and say that this will not hold. And that's what I've tried to do. But I'm just one of thousands of Canadians and Americans who are doing exactly the same thing.
But you're taking it a step farther because, with all due respect, you're stepping up. This library said it would need $100,000 to be able to make the modifications it needs to. And you, on your own, Louise, you wrote a check for $50,000. That's no small mark.
Yeah, well, I added a zero by mistake, so that was...
Too late. You can't go back and change that check, yeah.
No. Well, they were wonderful because they did get in touch with me, James and Deborah from the library, and said, "Not really, did you mean to do this?" And I, of course, yes, I did, because the reason Aaron, the reason I'm in a position to be able to do that is because of the generosity of readers in Canada and in the United States. So this seemed like the very least I could do. And what an elegant solution. Isn't it a brilliant solution? On the one hand, some people have demonstrated, as you need to have a kind of a militant arm. But then they came up with just this great idea of just, if they're going to stop Canadians from going in that door, we'll just build another door.
Gotta love that.
You gotta love that. That is a thing of great beauty, and who could not support that?
Yeah, and by the way, I should point out, they said they needed 100. You threw in 50, but we know now, thanks to crowdfunding and people hearing about the story, they've well surpassed that $100,000 mark, which is wonderful news as well.
Do you know, I just checked before getting on with you, because I knew we'd be talking about it. They're at $160,000 on the GoFundMe, and that's fantastic. Independent of my donation. Yeah. But and it's 2,500 people have given donations, and that's just the GoFundMe. Never mind the other ways to donate.
That's fantastic news. You know what? I want to get to the rest of this because the other part of this story is you have a brand new book. You typically would be going on a book tour, And that would typically include, the book, by the way, is called The Black Wolf. You would typically be going to the U.S. as part of this tour. But my understanding is you've made the decision not to go to the U.S. So explain why you decided not to do that.
Well, it's kind of a story of parts. I was going to launch the book at the Kennedy Center in B.C., which would have been, to be honest, a real career highlight, of course, the Kennedy Center. And I was so excited about it. And then when Trump initiated a coup and got rid of the chairperson, got rid of the president, got rid of all the Democrats on the board, and put his own people on, I just couldn't support that. So I withdrew from that, but was still going to do the tour in the States. And then when the whole Canada tariff thing, and it was an unprovoked trade war, a war to bring Canada to its knees, to bring my friends and neighbors to their knees, to break us. Well, I mean, I couldn't. It would be like agreeing that this was okay. Mm. And so that's when I canceled that tour, and we did a pivot, and now going to launch the book at the National Arts Centre in Ottawa, which was frankly where we probably should have been to begin with. So that feels really good.
Did you have sort of second thoughts about, not going ahead? Forget about the Kennedy Center. I get it. When Donald Trump appointed himself the head, that gave reason for pause. But beyond that, the not touring after having done it for so many years, did that give you sort of second thoughts?
You would have hoped. You would have thought. It didn't. It was just such an obvious thing for me. What did give me... It was never going to stop me, but it made me feel quite bad about the independent bookstores who would normally benefit by my tour, and the readers who have been so supportive in the United States who couldn't come. But as I said to them, come on up and come to Canada. You're welcome. It hurts that you've probably heard the same thing, that many American friends and relatives aren't totally sure that they're welcome in Canada anymore. And I think we need to make a distinction, and I think many of us do, but make it clear that we do make a distinction between Americans and the American administration. Yeah,
and that's really been an issue since the get-go, right? We tend to group them both together, thinking Americans represent or are represented by this particular administration in power right now, when we know that so many Americans are scratching their heads trying to understand what Donald Trump is doing, why he's trying to do this, why he feels the need to belittle Canada and belittle our then Prime Minister. It simply makes no sense, but no one can explain that. No,
and I've been thinking about Golda Meir, who said that a hero is someone who turns an enemy into a friend. Now, what do you call someone who turns a friend into an enemy?
Great question.
What is the upside to that? I don't know, Aaron, how many times in a day I say to myself or to my dogs, I don't understand. It's like I woke up in a different world. Yeah. Suddenly, seriously, it's very worrisome. I don't understand. I don't understand the rules anymore. I don't understand the language.
It is a little like that, isn't it? Like we live in an alternate universe all of a sudden since this guy was sworn in, and we have no idea why he's doing what he's doing. But the worst part is I don't think we ever will.
Yeah, no, I hope not. I mean, I think if at any stage you and I understand what he's doing, it's game over.
A lot of head scratching. A lot of head scratching going on. Louise, I'm out of time. First of all, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for making yourself available today. And on behalf, obviously, of the library and all the people who, of course, have decided they want to help as well, I think it's fair to say congratulations and thank you very much for that as well. I hope we can speak again.
Yes, I'd like that, Aaron.
Louise, thank you so much. Louise Penny, Quebec author, will not be going to the U.S. to support her book, her new book, The Black Wolf. And you heard why.